for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching from home and on Chatty. I am David Craddock, contributing editor of Shack News, and I'm here with a couple of special guests to celebrate Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. So let's make some introductions. If you could tell me your names, a little bit about yourselves, and we'll just chat it up for a little bit.
So I'm Megan Marie, and I'm the Senior Community Manager at Crystal Dynamics.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Rich Briggs, and I'm the Brand Director at Crystal Dynamics.
Excellent. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We noticed that it's your 20th also.
There's so many 20th
Yeah,
birthday
I think 96
celebrations.
was a really good year, is
Yeah.
what everybody's saying.
It was,
Yeah, Shack News, Lara
Congratulations.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other big ones this year.
Yeah. So we're winding down a little bit here, day 2.
Yes.
I wonder if you could tell me about how your E3s are going, what you've been able to show off, what you've been able to get away from the booth and see.
So that's gonna be a short list, right?
Right. Yeah.
The things that we were able to see.
We have been busy. We actually are really excited. We're celebrating 20 years of an icon, Lara Croft, and so at the booth we actually have an engraving station. Mm-hmm. Fans are lining up to get customized dog tags so they can celebrate with a personalized memento. And really, we've just been talking about all the different ways that Lara Croft has influenced not just the industry but people. You know, the thing we love about this is every month we've done something. We're calling it the Year of Tomb Raider because January we had the PC release of Rise of the Tomb Raider. Right. February we had Lara Croft's birthday. Mm-hmm. And then in March we partnered with Game Changer Charity on an announcement and showing our 20 Years of an Icon logo.
And Lara made all this possible.
Yeah, we had a PAX panel in April. So and we're debuting some stuff even today later on in the show. Megan's unearthed just so much great things as we're celebrating both the classic and the modern games.
Yeah, so two of our really big and exciting opportunities that we had is one, we have an official 20th anniversary book. It's a Tomb Raider, a history of Tomb Raider, and we actually just revealed the cover not too long ago.
Okay.
And then we also have something called the Tomb Raider Music Suite, which is our original composer, Nathan McCree. He did the first 3 Tomb Raider games, the soundtrack for the first 3 Tomb Raider games. He's remastering them and even adding to them. It's not just remastering the original songs, he's adding motifs and expanding upon them. And then he's going to put that together, he's going to record it with a really prestigious orchestra in a really nice venue. And then he's going to put out a CD and do a concert. So those were 2 of the things that we were really excited about. And throughout the day, we've been revealing more things. We just revealed a statue series through Gaming Heads. Do you know Gaming Heads?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, super high quality statues. So we have our fans right now voting on, they can choose between one of the 6 statues, and they all kind of fit together like a puzzle and make this really cool diorama.
Have you been keeping an eye on the votes? We have a landslide.
Angel of Darkness is winning so far. I knew it would.
Is Angel of Darkness winning already?
Okay.
It's so great. We have TombRaider20.com as this hub site. You can go there. There's other things like a fan art contest. You can go and record a video testimonial to tell us how Lara's impacted you. You know, we have so many fans that talk about Lara, and I know Megan's one of them, you know, at a young age or showing them with her strength how they could be strong in their own lives or influencing how they play video games or inspiring them to cosplay. It's great to have something every month where we reward and celebrate with our fans, and we have a lot of surprises coming up later this year. There'll be something every month.
Excellent. We've been talking a lot about how Lara is this powerful character, and it's pretty incredible when you think about it. I think the first popular video game mascot was literally a pizza with a slice missing, and then we go from Mario to Lara, who's this actual person. And I wonder if you could talk about your personal history with Lara. What was your first encounter with Tomb Raider, and what kind of gravitated you toward that game?
Yeah. So on my end, I think Tomb Raider was really the thing that is probably the franchise that's influenced my life the most, without question. I've always played video games. I've played Mario and Zelda and track and field with my brothers and all that kind of stuff. We would play, sit on the ground and you just hit the pad really fast, like you're not actually running, you're totally cheating. But I play all of those games with my brothers, and then my dad brought home Tomb Raider one day, and my brothers were like, they passed on it, and I held it like it was this treasure, and it's like, look at, there's a woman in this game, and for the first time, like, we had nothing in common.
And she's powerful.
Yeah, we had nothing in common really, other than the fact that we both had brown hair and we were ladies, and so I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it, and it's been a constant throughout my life, whether it's reading the comics and chasing down every variant cover, or I have been known to dress up as Lara from time to time.
Okay, all right.
In cosplay and so on, but it's always been a constant in my life and something that's really inspired me, and it really, I think, helped inspire my path into gaming too, because I felt such a great connection with her that I wanted to be a part of the industry that can make such amazing things. So it's a great honor to be involved in the franchise. It's not something that's ever been lost on me, that I now, you know, she inspired me, and now she's younger than me. But she inspired me. And,
you don't have to admit that. Don't worry.
If only we could all reboot and
quite
reimagine.
a few years.
The thing that I love about it is the game, and I've been playing since it first released back in 1996, and the game brought together so many elements and with such a new take on it. You know, obviously, as Megan mentioned, the iconic Lara Croft. I'd never had a hero in a game like that before.
Right.
I'd never had that type of attitude and that presentation. So I was hooked like so many other people when I saw that. But also that sense of isolation that you got, the discovery and the wonder when you walked into a tomb for the first time. And so for me, there were also just, it was such a different way to deliver action adventure, you know, and having that type of character in that type of environment in this beautiful 3D world, and you know, always seeing her on screen and the way she interacts, it was something that felt so new to me. And the first time I did that swan dive, I was
sure,
like that was the moment for me.
One of the things I loved about that is like, right, so she's always isolated and alone, and there's like animals and, you know, corpses
and
in these old tombs, right?
Rexes,
so but she does all these moves with so much flair. It's like there's no one watching. She's doing it because she wants to. She's doing it for herself. Like she's swan diving and doing all these flips and handstands because it's just part of her character. She's just stylish and so on. And that was something I thought was really cool early on.
Yeah.
There was no audience, but she was still doing it.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really cool that over the course of 20 years, we've gotten to touch on almost every aspect of her history. I mean, the first Tomb Raider, Lara is this powerful, poised adventurer, but then Crystal Dynamics gives us the chance to go back and see her origin.
Yeah.
She starts out uncertain, she's afraid, and we see her grow up. That's have to be pretty cool for you guys, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the most exciting things is that there's always that, you know, it's being built by fans, and we always try and find ways to pay homage to those things that made the franchise so special. Right. So whether it's, you know, showing Croft Manor in our cutscenes, or whether it's letting Lara swim, which is a fan request, that's why it's in Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Okay.
You know, or keeping things that are just intrinsic to Lara Croft, you know, whether it's physical things like the M shape of her lips, or the, you know, the hair, and taking that to the next level, or whether it's things like her intelligence and her drive and her you know, passion to discover the truth and unearth history's secrets. You know, these are all things that we feel like we share, and they have a nice through line from the nostalgic games all the way up to the modern reboot, you know, survival action, more gritty and grounded, but she's still all of those things that make her Lara.
Yeah. And so one of the things we've actually been doing to throw back on social is we've been pulling up a whole bunch of classic assets. So I had the opportunity to write the 20th anniversary book, which was a huge responsibility and honor and terrifying and amazing and all those things at once. But we discovered a lot of assets while doing the research, and you can't fit everything. It was amazing. It was you felt like your own sort of Tomb Raider, surfacing all this sort of lost secrets and so on. So one of the things we feature heavily in the book is this the Tomb Raider revision series, and so it was produced by GameTap in 2007, and it took a whole bunch of really well-known comic artists and writers. We had Warren Ellis, we had Jim Lee, we had Gail Simone, we had Peter Chung, all these really talented animation and comic book names, and they did this 10-part animated series. And so what you're seeing on screen right now is some of the original art that we actually surfaced. There was like some low resolution bits and so on, but we got a whole bunch of work in progress images. There's ones by Peter Chung who did Aeon Flux. So seeing Lara as like in this sort of Aeon Flux-ish, you know, presentation was really cool. But obviously we can't put video into a book. So we surfaced all this stuff that couldn't be in the book, and it made these opportunities for us to put things online. So one of the things we're super excited to announce is that we actually got in touch with the producer. We did an interview for the book and got these cool assets, and he found the originals. And so we got permission to up-res them, and we have them now in HD for the first time. So these original animations that we released 10 years ago,
everything's getting an HD remake these days.
So they should be online now. I set them to go live at 4:00 p.m. today, but if you go to our Tomb Raider, our YouTube Tomb Raider, then you'll be able to see them in a higher quality than you've ever seen it before, and it's cool. They're great. I mean, they're super fun. We have a clip at one point in time we'll show in this segment, Pre-Teen Raider, which is the one that was written by Gail Simone, who went on to work on the comics, our Tomb Raider comics. She's a huge Tomb Raider fan. And I think the animation was by a studio called 6 Point Harness. and it's really nice to see how crisp and clean it is, and to kind of revisit these amazing episodes. So.
And we're giving you guys the scoop in honor of your 20-year celebration as well.
Oh, thank
so
you very
guys,
much.
you hear it here first.
We're bringing birthday cake to each other's party.
Exactly. But it's exactly this type of thing where, whether it's Megan finding things, unearthing things that we didn't know about the franchise or that we can celebrate in a new way, or fans sending us stuff that they've done. It's just a great way to really celebrate the impact that Lara's had on the industry and the impact she's had on fans. So I personally, I'm so excited because just, again, being a longtime fan, like so many of the people at Crystal Dynamics, it's awesome to learn new things,
sure.
about the franchise and be able to reach this milestone, which, granted, you guys hit it as well, but, not many gaming characters make it to 20 years, and I think that really is a testament to the impact that Lara's had, and it's even more inspiring to me to still be releasing what are arguably, some of the best reviewed, best received, and most commercially successful games, in the franchise's career. So it's nice to see the trajectory continuing to go up.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing that Lara has continued to be this total package. I mean, even since that first game, you had action, you had a story, you had exploration, you had puzzle solving, and you had this breakthrough in 3D gaming. I mean, up to that point, 3D anything was just kind of a glimmer of an idea.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And seeing Lara interact with the environments versus being the first person yourself interacting with the environment, seeing the way that she interacted and solved puzzles and pulled switches and found keys and so on, but interacting the way she interacted and the way that she moved through the environment was so unique.
Right.
And I think that's still very true. How beautiful is that? I mean, come on, look at how beautiful those are. So
yeah, so tell me a little bit about this.
So this is the Preteen Raider. This is the episode that was done by Gail Simone in 6 Point Harness. Okay. And it's the first time that it's been released in this HD, and it's just really cool to see closer to what the original animators envisioned it being, because it was, again, released online 10 years ago, and since then, it's not online in archives anymore. There's some low resolution versions on YouTube and so on, but nobody's ever actually seen them in this high a quality. But this one is hilarious. So this is Lara before she's Lara, and you're starting to see a bit of her attitude. She keeps stealing stuff from Croft Academy, the university or the school that she's at, and her headmistress is not overly happy about that. And so she says that she's going to go and get back this artifact that was taken from her, and you see her learning how to dodge traps and all these sorts of things that she'll need later in her life. But the attitude is just so great.
Oh yeah,
it's in the DNA, clearly.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
And I've never even seen this one, so I'm so excited
a lot of people
go
actually
and
haven't.
watch
I think a
these.
lot of people forget there was an animated series, and so it's really fun now that we can bring it back and reintroduce it to people who haven't seen it, and then everybody else who has seen it, they can enjoy it in a higher fidelity. So
That's very cool.
it's pretty cool.
So, Megan, you mentioned you wrote the book on the 20th anniversary of Tomb Raider. That's kind of in my wheelhouse. I published a book on the history of Blizzard.
Awesome.
I do a lot of writing about the history of games. And one of my favorite parts is just getting to dig into this history and finding my favorite eras and connecting all those dots. I wonder if you could tell me, what was your favorite era of Tomb Raider history to learn about?
Oh man, it's funny because I kind of, as a fan since the beginning, I kind of thought that I knew,
Yeah.
Not that I knew everything, but I thought I knew most of it. But it was really interesting digging in, and I think I knew a lot about the games. I think that there were some promotional things that I didn't know about that were really interesting. I mean, I didn't know that in 2006 Lara Croft was I think it was 2006 or 2007, Lara Croft was the face of a skin cancer awareness campaign.
Oh, I had no idea.
Here in the United
That's cool.
States, and they said, Lara's athletic and she's healthy and she's outdoorsy and she's the perfect, mascot, the perfect face for raising awareness of taking care of yourself and your health and so on, and just discovering cool partnership assets. And there was this Tomb Raider. In 1999 they sponsored Ian Jacobson Racing. They sponsored a race car, and photos. I used archive.org to find a tiny thumbnail, but of course it was from a website 15 years ago, so the tiny thumbnail was the only thing I could ever find on the internet of this race car.
Right. But
then I used Wayback Machine and tracked a link through an old racing forum, and then found the same user in another racing forum who was actually active, and then I signed up for the forum, and then I contacted him, and he had photos of the car from that race.
Oh, wow.
And so it was kind of this weird,
You were like a
searching the
detective.
internet, yeah.
You were an archaeologist, just like Lara for this book.
Just like Lara. No T-Rexes, though.
But when I got that asset, when he sent me the high resolution photo, and he's like, "Yeah, totally, I'll this in the book. It just felt like such a victory, just being able to find that stuff. And same with the revision series. Got in touch with Elliot Blake, who is the producer, and he's been super great, really helpful throughout this entire process, and helped me get them, up-resed and so on. But talking with him, and I didn't know that the revision series won an Emmy for one of the commercials, the promos they put together for the series. They won an Emmy and stuff like that, just discovering things like that. So it was kind of all the ancillary stuff that was really interesting to see how many different venues it was affected. Like being in the Time Magazine's most influential characters who never lived. The 100 most influential characters who never lived. Lara's the only gaming character, and she's alongside people like Elizabeth Bennet and Don Quixote and Captain Kirk. Like these huge characters, like out of the 100 fictional characters in the entire universe that she was included, is like a huge huge sort of thing. So those were really fun to me.
Okay. Now what about you? Did you have any particular favorite Lara Croft trivia that jumped out at you?
I think that, Megan did such an amazing job highlighting the impact it's had on our fans. There's something like, 100 pages of the book dedicated to the community. And seeing, reading through the stories, it's a huge book. I've read all of it, but reading the letters that fans have sent and seeing what inspired people to cosplay or to pursue one job over another or to start up their own fan site, it's
because without
it's
the
a great
community,
thing
there might be no
and it's
Lara.
a great thing to work on.
Yeah.
But it's an even greater thing to be reminded of the people that you're building this thing for, and the impact that it's having on them. And so as a gamer myself, I know the impact Lara's had on me and how I approached games, and to see that reflected in so many different ways and in so many different, passionate mediums around the world. That to me was one of the favorite parts of the book.
Excellent.
And it was, that was something that I went in right away when I first pitched the table of contents. There was a huge section carved out, and it just kind of kept growing and growing, and I had to thank Prima because they upped my page count from like 250 to 350 pages. And I really appreciate that because I was having such a hard time keeping to my page count. But yeah, we in the fan section, it covers everything from our webmasters to our forum moderators. We have a section dedicated to the Tomb Raider level editing community. We have our cosplayers and lookalikes, because they were called lookalikes before they were called cosplayers.
Right.
Fan artists. We have a section for Tomb Raider tattoos, the collectors. So it really covers the full breadth of that. And I think that the Dear Lara letters are what we call them, but it's a section for the people who they sent in letters for how Lara has affected them in like a very meaningful way. And so we have one lovely lady, her name is Brianna, and she was in a car accident, shattered her hip, and she was a huge Tomb Raider fan and kind of latched on to the just keep moving and that you're stronger than you think you are when she was going through physical therapy, and it helped her get that drive she needed to learn to walk again, and she was told she wouldn't necessarily walk again. And so stories like that, just hearing the fans speak directly to Lara and say thank you for this, was something that I really enjoyed.
Excellent. So, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about or to show us as we near the end of our conversation?
Well, I think we've unveiled all the assets that we're going to for today.
Okay.
But I would just encourage people again to visit TombRaider20.com and become a part of the celebration. Give us a video testimonial or give us some fan art. Tell us a story of how Lara's inspired you or impacted your life. And certainly be on the lookout, because again, we are making this the year of Tomb Raider. So we've done a lot so far. We have announced a lot of things at the show, but there are even bigger and better things to come in the future.
There's always, we've got big stuff planned for the schedule, but then there's always these little opportunities that come up, like the game tab revision thing. That was something that we've been looking into for a while, and all of a sudden it was approved, and we got it. And where can we fit it? So we've got a lot of stuff working, and a lot of little celebration things like this that it's fun to have the big drops, and then these little nostalgic things that we're able to give back to the fans throughout that. So you never know.
Absolutely.
Fun things can drop randomly.
Well, now let me ask you this: Rise of the Tomb Raider is still a relatively new, relatively fresh game. How did Crystal Dynamics? What did you guys think of the reception to that on both platforms so far?
We were really pleased. I think that from a critical perspective as well as the fans, people have really enjoyed the game, and I think the thing that is most exciting is people telling us that they couldn't believe how much content there was, because you can play through the main storyline in about 10 hours, but there's 40 plus hours of content there if you want 100% that thing.
Right.
And then you add all the DLC on top of it that's available. It just keeps the experience going further and further. So we were really pleased. It was a labor of love. It was a lot of hard work by a lot of very talented people back at the studio. But for me, getting that recognition, over 75 best of nominations and awards, getting the fans telling us this is, my favorite Tomb Raider game, that's the type of thing that we live for.
And I definitely enjoyed fans recognizing that this was the next step in Lara's journey, and they could see that one step closer to being the Tomb Raider. And whether it's the things with the return of traps, or the swimming, and
putting the tombs back in Tomb Raider.
Tombs that have these just beautiful ancient ornate spaces that reward you with ancient skills and so on. There was a lot of stuff there that I feel like people really, they saw and appreciated that Lara's growing, and that she's growing towards someone they're a bit more familiar with. So it's cool to see her fulfill her destiny.
20 years and growing, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You should never stop growing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I think we're about done, and I really want to thank you both for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Laura's one of my favorite characters. Tomb Raider is one of my favorite franchises. I got to get caught up on Rise of the Tomb Raider,
yes.
though. So
after E3.
After E3, yes.
When
after
we can
E3.
all go back to
That's what I'll be doing this weekend when I'm back
Awesome.
home in front of my game consoles.
Great.
So thank you both very much for being on.
Thank you.
Great
Thanks
to meet
for
you.
having us, David.
Yes.
A
Happy
lot of
20th
fun.
anniversary.
Happy
Shalom.
20th anniversary to you.
Thank you. Good talking with you both.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.